Online game, I possess a monster merging simulator. Chapter 261, Female Streamers Shock. Order all the spies we have arranged in Iron Skull City to set off. We must investigate the internal situation of the cold desolate Dragon City. Inform all the agents stationed in Iron Skull City to enter the cold desolate Dragon City and investigate the information of the city. If there's a chance, we must destroy this city. Inform everyone in Iron Skull City to participate in the cold desolate Dragon City event. We must obtain this city creation token. Now, I'll give you $10 billion to buy construction materials with all your might. You must suppress the other guilds and obtain this city creation token. Get the city creation token at all costs and build the second player city in the entire server. After completing the mission, all members of your guild will be rewarded with 10,000 alliance dollars each. All the higher UPS will receive $3 billion. At this moment, all the places in the world issued secret orders. Especially when they saw the appearance of the second city creation token in the entire server, almost no one could remain calm. They all arranged for guild members to participate in this event. Even the World Alliance's own military was secretly operating to contact Tyrant. At the same time, the world's largest live stream platform began to take action. As the greatest topic in the world today, these live stream platforms naturally invested all their energy. Especially after receiving the news that cold desolate Dragon City was about to be opened, the streaming platform, World Direct TV, immediately organized this special event. They mobilized a large number of official streamers and gathered near the teleportation circle of Iron Skull City, preparing to teleport to cold desolate Dragon City as soon as possible to provide the entire world's audience the first opportunity to watch the entire city. Dear friends, I am your most adorable Little Orange from Direct TV. Today, Little Orange will lead everyone to see the mystery of the cold desolate Dragon City. At this moment, the most popular streamer in the world, Little Orange, was already standing on the teleportation circle of Iron Skull City. The moment cold desolate Dragon City was opened, she immediately chose to teleport. At this moment, the popularity of the entire live stream instantly soared to a terrifying 30 million viewers online. Ding! Please choose the city you are about to teleport to. As soon as the beautiful streamer Little Orange activated the teleportation circle, she immediately received the relevant notification. On the interface in front of her, several choices appeared. Little Orange immediately focused on the cold desolate Dragon City. Teleport to the cold desolate Dragon City. Little Orange said. Ding! Teleporting to the cold desolate Dragon City requires 10.1 gold coins. The teleportation to cold desolate Dragon City requires 10 gold coins. Iron Skull City needs 0.1 gold coins. The system notification appeared and Little Orange froze on the spot. To be honest, she really thought that she had seen wrongly. Just teleporting once required 10 gold coins? Was he crazy about earning money? After all, 10 gold coins was equivalent to more than 20,000 alliance dollars. No player could accept such a high cost. Seeing this scene, the audience in the live stream was hysterical. This tyrant is crazy. The teleportation fee is 10 gold coins. Go to hell, you scoundrel. One teleportation costs me 4 months of salary. F***CKU. Black-hearted tyrant. More than 20,000 alliance dollars is enough for me to fly anywhere in the world. I'm sorry, my salary can't even support me in playing games. I'm crying. Crazy comments filled the entire live stream. At the same time, the surrounding players also saw this notification, and their minds immediately exploded. As solo players, all of them could only pool together 1 gold coin. In the end, this teleportation circle actually required 10 gold coins to teleport. It was simply ridiculous. Even the rich players were stunned on the spot after seeing this teleportation price. But as they were about to protest, a new notification appeared. Ding! As this is your first teleportation this week, you have received a 99.9% discount. This teleportation costs 10 silver coins. Would you like to teleport? When they saw this notification, the players were not so angry. Many players chose to confirm it. Compared to the time it took to run the map in 1 or 2 days, using 10 silver coins to teleport to the war and middle would definitely earn him a lot. Especially for the solo players. Most of them had not been to the ruins of the war, but they had always heard that someone had made a lot of money in that area, so they often yearned to go to the ruins of the war. Coupled with the fact that there was an event in the cold desolate Dragon City, they were even more impatient. They all chose to teleport immediately. Little Orange was no exception. It seems that Mr. Tyrant has considered this very thoroughly. 10 silver coins is a normal teleportation fee. Then, let's not waste any more time. Let's go to the cold desolate Dragon City and explore the mysteries. With that, Little Orange chose to teleport. A blue light flashed, and she vanished. At this moment, the audience stared nervously at the live stream. They all wanted to see what the first player city that was built by millions of workers looked like. In the cold desolate Dragon City. After the light flashed, Little Orange arrived at a new place. She used her large eyes to check her surroundings, but she was lost. In front of her was a tall city wall made of huge rocks. It was 70 meters tall. Looking up, a grand and huge pressure immediately came. Little Orange, why are you still in Iron Skull City? Did something go wrong with the teleportation circle? Only the main city can have such a tall city wall. She probably chose the wrong teleportation location. Ha ha ha, my Little Orange is indeed very careless. She even chose the wrong teleportation target. Little Orange, don't be in a hurry to leave. Quickly look around. Perhaps it's a new main city. In the live stream, the players spoke. Their words made Little Orange doubt herself. Was there a problem with the teleportation array? I accidentally came to another main city. Little Orange was confused. She clearly remembered that she had chosen the right target. Looking at the information on the comments, Little Orange was about to check the situation of this city to see if it had accidentally discovered a new city. However, the moment she turned around, Little Orange's eyes widened. In front of her was a huge square. In the center, there was a 100-meter tall dragon. It bared its fangs and brandished its wings, tearing at Little Orange. Chapter 262, Players Gone Crazy. Little Orange, run! It's over, it's over. My little cutie is going to be eaten. What a powerful dragon! What is this place? Why would an adult dragon appear? Strange, that dragon doesn't seem to be moving. The audience in the live stream quietened down and sized up the terrifying dragon. Little Orange also recovered from the shock. After careful inspection, it realized that it was only a lifelike statue. At this moment, she was basically certain that this was definitely not Iron Skull City. Wait. Dragon? Cold desolate Dragon City? Could it be that? Little Orange suddenly realized something. She quickly opened her map panel. In the next second, an incomparably huge regional map appeared in front of her. The name displayed on it was Cold Desolate Dragon City. Pfft! The audience in the live stream spat out blood. The place they thought was a new main city was actually Tyrant's Cold Desolate Dragon City. Am I seeing things? Impossible. How can this be Cold Desolate Dragon City? I don't believe it. Such a huge main city cannot be the territory of the players. The Players Guild headquarters should be developed from a small house. At this time, they can at most create a small village. I'm now certain that Tyrant has cheated. Who dares to argue otherwise? The netizens were completely crazy. No one could accept what they were seeing. Little Orange froze on the spot for a long time. She really did not expect that in a player city that had just been built, there would be a 100-meter tall dragon statue with wingspan of more than 200 meters and such a towering city wall. It was unbelievable. Fortunately, her professionalism forced her to calm down. Then, Little Orange continued to check the appearance of the city. In this city, there were buildings with a grand aura. They were all different in shape and were filled with the style of the other world. With their grand physiques, they gave people the feeling of standing in a dragon's nest. Moreover, every building had a unique style. There were ancient murals and patterns inside. Walking in, it was like a museum of ancient buildings. Every wall was curious. However, Little Orange was a top-notch streamer and had a very unique taste. She knew what the players wanted to know the most. Therefore, she followed the main path towards the highest city. On the way, Little Orange saw many large buildings. Some could be visited, and others were sealed. But she did not explore them one by one. Instead, she teleported through the small teleportation array in the city. Soon, she arrived near the city lord's area. Before she could get close, she received a notification. Ding! The city lord's area is not to be approached without permission. A patrolling guard on the city wall looked over. In the cold desolate dragon city, as long as one reached this region, they were not allowed to approach. This place was not within 100 meters of the inner city wall. Little Orange was helpless, but she did not force her way through the defense line. This was because there were church knights in heavy armor on the city wall staring at her, as if as long as they realized that she had crossed the line, they would use thunderous methods to kill the beautiful and weak offender. With that in mind, Little Orange quickly changed her direction. She arrived at the clock tower. Here, she could roughly see the layout of the workshop area. As Little Orange gradually explored and analyzed, the basic structure of the entire cold desolate dragon city gradually became clear. First of all, this was a huge city that covered more than 30,000 hectares. The entire city was very long, at least 30 kilometers long. It could be seen that the current city was still very empty. Most of the areas had nothing. The buildings were also scattered in various large areas. There was almost no situation of buildings appearing clustered together. Interestingly, there were a lot of gnomes and even many robots walking around in this city. It seemed that the technology in the entire city was more advanced than in Iron Skull City. Unfortunately, the city was still in the construction phase. It did not look prosperous for the time being. Then, Little Orange arrived near the city wall. A portion of the city wall of the cold desolate dragon city could be climbed. Little Orange immediately climbed up the wall. When she saw the scene outside the city, she was stunned again. Standing here, she could see the mountain range outside. The forest near the edge of the cold desolate dragon city was dark green in color. It looked very fresh and beautiful. There were also various strange herbs growing on the ground. From their appearance, it could be seen that these herbs were very high grade. Not only that, but there was also a group of monsters wandering in the forest. She could even see the figure of the boss. To the players who needed to level up, this was simply a dreamlike map area. Because the cold desolate dragon city was the center of the battlefield, even if the geographical location changed, the surrounding mountains were still the same land. Therefore, there were many treasures in these forests. For example, the glowing object on the hill ahead seemed to be an ancient war sword. Even after so many years, it was still glowing. There were also traces of ruins on the hill over there. Perhaps it was a part of the cold desolate dragon city that had been separated. Even if there were no treasures inside, those ancient rocks were still valuable. However, Little Orange's vision was limited. When her gaze reached a spot a few kilometers away from the cold desolate dragon city, the environment there immediately darkened. Even the entire forest was grey and looked very sinister. When Little Orange looked to the side, she could not help but swallow. In that area, there was a dark sea, like a black hole that wanted to devour everything in the world. However, what made the players very excited was that at the edge of the Lake of Death, there was a large group of creatures at the bottom of the lake slowly wandering on the lake shore. There were even many impressive bosses running around. The players' eyes were red from watching. They wished they could run to that area right now and take on all the bosses that they did not know. This place is simply a leveling holy land. An undeveloped region is too dreamlike. Those herbs are as common as weeds. If I pick herbs at a high level, I can definitely make a killing here. It's too tempting to see the boss map directly. Gosh! Is that a level 4 medicinal herb, wolf fang grass? There's an entire field of it. I can't hold back anymore. I'll go to the cold desolate dragon city now and earn more reputation. There will definitely be benefits in the future. The guys from Iron Skull City are too lucky. Our main city has only just obtained a few guild establishment tokens, but they already have 2 city creation tokens. With cold desolate dragon city, the top players of Iron Skull City will definitely level up faster. When the netizens saw this scene, they immediately went crazy. Those solo players who were still nonchalant were also attracted by this scene and entered cold desolate dragon city. Chapter 263, Rapid Growth of the City's Population. Ding! System notification, revenue from teleportation array of the cold desolate dragon city, 10 silver coins. System notification. System notification. System notification. At the highest point of the cloud top hall, Lorne was sitting on his throne and looking at the teleportation circle flickering below. They were players, or in his eyes, walking bags of money. When he opened the cold desolate dragon city, he adjusted the cost of the teleportation array to an astonishing 10 gold coins. If it was this price, then Lorne would immediately have a few million gold coins. Unfortunately, this price was too expensive. Coupled with the fact that today was the first day of opening the cold desolate dragon city, Lorne reduced the cost of the teleportation array to 10 silver coins. This was a price that could not earn him any profits. Fortunately, the teleportation array of the cold desolate dragon city had a special effect. Its cost was half that of other teleportation arrays. In other words, Lorne still had 50% of the profits. Every player who entered the cold desolate dragon city would earn him 5 silver coins. The number of players who entered today had already reached an astonishing height. 100,000. 200,000. 300,000. 400,000. 500,000. In less than 10 minutes, the number of players in the cold desolate dragon city had exceeded 600,000. According to the income of 5 silver coins per person, Lorne had already earned 30,000 gold coins. It was almost equivalent to 100 million alliance dollars. Wasn't this efficiency of earning money faster than printing cash? Moreover, the most shocking thing about this city was not only that. As time passed, the number of players in the cold desolate dragon city continued to increase crazily. In the blink of an eye, there were already more than 1 million people. At this rate, it's entirely possible to break through 10 million people. Lorne smiled happily. Cold desolate dragon city was located near the Lake of Death. This was an area that not even Iron Skull City had come to, so the monster resources here were much richer than elsewhere. Coupled with the additional amplification effect of dropping in the ruins of the war, it would attract more and more players to come here. In addition, the mysterious map of the Lake of Death would also be very attractive to players. In the future, when the players' levels increased, this high-level large-scale map would definitely become the area that the players respected the most. This guaranteed the future popularity of the cold desolate dragon city. A city that could attract players meant that it could consistently absorb wealth. Currently, the cold desolate dragon city was still in the construction phase. There were some things that could not be set up yet. However, as long as the construction was completed, there would definitely be unimaginable ways to earn money in the future. Leader, your 10 gold coins teleportation fee has basically cut off the player's path of retreat. If they want to leave cold desolate dragon city now, they probably have to think carefully. After obtaining Lorne's permission, Super Rich arrived at the highest point of the cloud top hall. He looked at the lively scene below and could not help but sigh. Even if they leave, it will not exceed half. Therefore, the remaining millions will bring us enough benefits. However, there are still many problems in the city now. The workshop area does not have enough production capacity, especially the potions. Right now, the potions of Cold Desolate Dragon City basically have to rely on the output of Iron Skull City. Lorne frowned. Leader, I own a guild that specializes in alchemy. They have more than 10,000 alchemists, and there are more than 100 level 3 alchemists among them. If we produce them at full strength, we can provide 100,000 level 3 potions per day. Super Rich immediately pulled out a panel. On it was the basic information of a guild. Holy Scripture Guild. Lorne checked and found that this was indeed a powerful guild. Perhaps many players did not know the value of a level 3 alchemist, but in fact, in the Divine Realm, the effort he needed to level up to a level 3 alchemist was definitely not less than that of players who had reached level 30. In other words, this guild was equivalent to having 100 level 30 players. This was an incredible number. One had to know that at this time, no guild could have 50 level 30 players. Ask them if they are willing to stay in the Cold Desolate Dragon City. We will directly give them the shop and venue, but the city will take 60% of the profits from the potions they refine and sell. Lorne directly asked for a ridiculously high percentage. Under normal circumstances, the main city would not draw more than 20% of the profits. However, it was different in the Cold Desolate Dragon City. This was because there was no lack of them here. Even without them staying, just transporting potions from Iron Skull City was enough to support the current consumption of potions. After all, Lorne had the dragon's treasure vault, so transporting resources was very convenient. They will definitely agree, because this share is very reasonable. Leader, you have waived their factory rental and provided such a large sales figure. I believe they have no reason to refuse. Super Rich smiled as he said. Previously, Lorne had thought that letting this rich tycoon help manage the business in the city was a good choice. Now, it seemed that this choice was indeed excellent. For example, the matter of the Holy Scripture Guild had brought great benefits to Cold Desolate Dragon City. The cost of refining a bottle of level 3 potion was 30 bronze coins. Under normal circumstances, the sales price was 50 bronze coins, and one potion could earn about 20 bronze coins. In the Cold Desolate Dragon City, the price of each potion would be 75 bronze coins. Because of the geographical location, other than buying them, the players had no other choice. In this case, each potion could obtain 45 bronze coins. Lorne would draw 60%, which was 27 bronze coins. 100,000 potions could bring him 270 gold coins per day, which was equivalent to 80,000 alliance dollars. Moreover, with the passage of time, their alchemists' numbers would also gradually increase. The profits brought in the future would definitely still increase greatly. Most importantly, they alleviated some of the Cold Desolate Dragon City's reliance on Iron Skull City. Lorne had already set the target of Cold Desolate Dragon City's competitor as Iron Skull City. Therefore, he had to rid himself of all dependence on Iron Skull City as soon as possible. He believed that when that day came, Cold Desolate Dragon City would completely become a large main city like Iron Skull City. As for the profits of the Holy Scripture Guild, their profit share in Iron Skull City was 80%, so their single potion income was 16 bronze coins. In Cold Desolate Dragon City, the profit was 40%, and their single income was 18 bronze coins. It was obvious where the profits were greater. Moreover, Lorne did not want their factory rental payment this time, which reduced a large amount of expenses. It was because of his comprehensive calculations that Super Rich thought that the people of the Holy Scripture Guild would definitely not refuse the invitation. Chapter 264, Fundamental Law of the Cold Desolate Dragon City. Damn! Brothers of Iron Skull City, before you come to Cold Desolate Dragon City, you must remember to buy more potions. The potions here are as black-hearted as the pharmacists in the Doomsday Forest. Moreover, I don't dare to go back to Iron Skull City, because the travel fees are 10 gold coins. I'll stop talking. Let me cry for a while. When the players finished visiting the cold desolate dragon city and prepared to replenish their supplies and go out to kill monsters, they realized how cunning capitalists were. Level 4 HP potion price, 1.5 silver coins. Level 4 MP potion price, 1.5 silver coins. Level 3 HP potion price, 75 bronze coins. Level 3 MP potion price, 75 bronze coins. Antidote potion price, 1 silver coin. It could be seen that in this city, all the potions were 50% more expensive than the potions in Iron Skull City. Gosh! This tyrant is as black-hearted as ever. Tyrant is such a profiteer. Damn, I thought that after we had a city in the ruins of the war, we solo players would be better, but in the end, we still did not escape the fate of being exploited. Tyrant, this scoundrel. He's clearly snatching money. Doesn't this guy's conscience hurt? Who would have thought that the World Destruction Guild, which has always had the worst reputation, is actually the most conscientious seller? The players were hysterical. They had thought that they could avoid the potion exploitation, but who would have thought that they would still fall under Tyrant's scheme? Especially the players from the World Destruction Guild, they gritted their teeth. Not long ago, they had transported 1.5 million potions to the Doomsday Forest. In the end, because they were worried that the cold desolate dragon city would fight a price war with them, in order to prevent losses, they sold all the potions at a super low price of about 1.2. But now, Tyrant was offering 1.5 silver coins. Wasn't this a blatant slap to the face of their World Destruction Guild? Damn it! Crossfire was about to go crazy. If he had known that the final price was 1.5 silver coins, he would have sold it now. If he could sell all the potions at the price of 1.5 silver coins, the company would not lose money and he could stabilize his position. But now, there was nothing left. It was all this damned tyrant's fault. At the same time, some merchant players saw a business opportunity. Although the teleportation cost of the cold desolate dragon city was very high and it was definitely not worth it to transport resources back and forth, there was a loophole that all the players enjoyed a 0.1% discount every week. This was a business opportunity. This was because not all players were qualified to level up in the ruins of the war. For example, those players who had entered the game late and were only level 20 now did not have the strength to kill monsters in the ruins of the war, so their teleportation qualification would be wasted. As merchants, they could completely use money to drive these players to bring the potions to the cold desolate dragon city. In this case, the transportation cost was only 10 silver coins, which was completely acceptable. Thinking of this, many merchants were ready to attack. But at this moment, a huge announcement suddenly sounded in the sky above the entire cold desolate dragon city. Ding! Cold desolate dragon city announcement. The city lord of the cold desolate dragon city, Tyrant, has officially issued the fundamental law of the cold desolate dragon city. This law is immediately in effect. Anyone who violates this law will receive an extremely severe punishment. 1. Potions, forging, equipment maintenance, teleportation scrolls, and other businesses cannot be privately run without permission. Any merchants or individuals who cross the line will be permanently banned by the cold desolate dragon city. 2. Players can freely trade items like items and equipment, but they need to be appraised through the cold desolate dragon city identification system. Any free transaction will cost 10% of the transaction amount. 3. The players can set up their stalls or rent shops to do business, but they need to pay 20% tax. 4. Cold Desolate Dragon City will open an official auction house. It can help players make a citywide announcement about the high-grade items for sale. After the auction is completed, the auction house will receive 20% tax. 5. The chat channel is open. Each time you speak, you have to pay 1 gold coin. You can use it to make pinned posts, but you cannot shout throughout the city. 6. Any form of PK is prohibited in the city. Those who violate it. 7. Any player with the prefix IDs of domination and world destruction are forbidden from entering Cold Desolate Dragon City. 8. The City Lord's Zone. At this moment, the Cold Desolate Dragon City announced dozens of rules. They were all rules that hit the nail on the head. When they saw the rules of the first few business practices, all the merchant players spat out a mouthful of blood. This tyrant was too much. Before they could exploit the loophole, this guy blocked all the tunnels. With this rule, these player merchants had no way to become rich. They could only obediently accept the high taxes in the Cold Desolate Dragon City. This made the solo players who were setting up their stalls shed sad tears. In the end, I can't escape Tyrant's harvest. Even free trading is taxed by 10%. This tyrant is really pervasive. Set up a stall and pay 20% tax. These things were originally a small business to earn some hard-earned money, but now, they're all working for Tyrant. This world is no longer worth living in. There are capitalists everywhere. It's too difficult for us small merchants. I feel terrible, I want to cry. At this moment, the merchant players were already in tears. Ordinary players could accept it. Although the potions here were very expensive, they were much cheaper than the price of 3 to 4 silver coins in the Doomsday Forest. As for the higher taxes, in fact, it did not affect ordinary players much. This was because the equipment and items they dropped did not have to be sold to players who did recycling. In the Cold Desolate Dragon City, directly selling the equipment and items to the designated NPCs did not require any tax. Moreover, the forging shop of the Cold Desolate Dragon City actually provided free equipment repair. This was simply a huge benefit to ordinary players. After all, the frequency of battles in the ruins of the war was so high, and the speed at which equipment was damaged was also a headache. Now that it could be repaired for free, naturally, it could save a lot of bronze coins. Chapter 265, The Battle for the Second City Creation Token. Ding! Game announcement, congratulations on reaching 1 million people per day in your main city. Reward received, wood plus 500,000, stone plus 500,000, steel plus 50,000, crystal plus 10,000. Game announcement, congratulations on reaching 2 million people per day in your main city. Reward received, wood plus 1 million, stone plus 1 million, steel plus 100,000, crystal plus 20,000. Game announcement, congratulations on reaching 3 million people per day in your main city. Reward received, wood plus 1.5 million, stone plus 1.5 million, steel plus 150,000, crystal plus 30,000. Game announcement, congratulations on reaching 4 million people per day in your main city. Achievement reward, wood plus 2 million, stone plus 2 million, steel plus 200,000, crystal plus 40,000. As time passed, the population in the city increased crazily. Every time the flow of people exceeded 1 million, Lorne would obtain a large amount of construction resources. This was an extremely important pillar of support for the construction of the Cold Desolate Dragon City. Lorne opened the Territory Management panel and checked. Territory, Cold Desolate Dragon City. City Lord, Tyrant. Deputy City Lord, Tully. Grain production, 5,000 per day. Wood production, 5,000 per day. Stone materials production, 5,000 per day. Steel production, 500 per day. Resident population, 10,532. Human flow, 4,743,200. City Army, 120, hired 120. City Commoners, 10,412. City Construction, Cloud Top Hall, Ancestral Dragon Temple, Dragon's Clock Tower, Dragon Lookout. Defense Weapon, Ancestral Dragon City Barrier Formation, damaged. This was the current data panel of the cold desolate Dragon City. From this, it could be clearly seen that the territory would automatically produce a portion of the building resources every day. It could allow an ordinary territory to develop smoothly. However, to the cold desolate Dragon City, it was a little powerless. Most of the building resources had to be found by Lorne himself. This was a huge challenge for the current cold desolate Dragon City. In addition, the permanent population of the city was only 10,000. This number would only record the population of the cold desolate Dragon City. For example, the gnomes that had sworn to be loyal to the cold desolate Dragon City. As for the other players, from the moment they entered the main city, they had sworn loyalty to Iron Skull City. Therefore, they were all travelers in the cold desolate Dragon City. Even the city guards led by Ret did not belong to the cold desolate Dragon City. Only the church knights recruited by the Church of Light by Lorne spent a lot of money were considered part of the city army. This made the data on the entire interface look a little better. At the very least, there was no sign of zero. There was also the city defense weapon classification. There was only the city defense magic circle hidden in the city. Other than that, there were no other city defense weapons. This was also a huge problem for Lorne. Finally, Lorne looked at the last number of gold coins in the territory. Gold coin, 257,161. 257,000 gold coins was the income of charging 4.74 million players for Lorne. This value would continue to increase, but it would not be as explosive as the previous few hours. The subsequent income still depended on the benefits of the potion. After all, potions were a necessity for consumption. Every player had to use at least 20 bottles of potions to maintain the basic hunting battle. If the players went all out and used the potions without regard for consumption, they would have to spend at least 100 bottles of potions per day. To the cold desolate Dragon City, this was an incomparably huge market. Should I refine some special potions? Lorne pondered. He had the dragon's pharmacopoeia on him. This pharmacopoeia gave him powerful alchemy abilities, and there were many high-level potion refinement methods inside. Even if he used the methods in the dragon's pharmacopoeia to refine ordinary level 4 potions, the effect would double. He believed that such a potion would be liked by the players and allow the cold desolate Dragon City to have its own unique characteristics. However, this matter required the help of Doge. He was relatively familiar with the alchemy business. Moreover, he had recently contacted countless alchemy organizations. If he officially brought the Encyclopedia of Rare Herbs to the cold desolate Dragon City, he would definitely be able to bring enough alchemists to the cold desolate Dragon City. This matter had to wait for Doge to finish dealing with the matter at hand. It could not be done immediately for the time being. Lorne recorded the plan, then opened another panel. This panel was the contribution ranking for the event. Cold Desolate Dragon City Contribution Board. First place, Blood Shadow Blade, contribution points, 4.17 million. Second place, Fearless Long Sky, contribution points, 4.11 million. Third place, Fire of the Red Lotus, contribution points, 4.02 million. Fourth place, Emerald Grass, contribution points, 3.99 million. Fifth place, Eye of the Evil Dragon, contribution points, 3.87 million. Sixth place, Silent Night, contribution points, 3.85 million. Seventh place, Blue Sky White Cloud, contribution points, 3.79 million. Eighth place, Unparalleled Beauty, contribution points, 3.71 million. Ninth place, Tiny Drizzle, contribution points, 3.6 million. 10th place, Blood Shield, contribution points, 3.59 million. Although only a few hours had passed, the battle on the leaderboard was abnormally intense. The players in the top 10 now all had at least 3.5 million points. 3 of them had even exceeded 4 million points. Perhaps many people did not know the difficulty of obtaining these contribution points, but as long as they saw the rules, they would be shocked by these data. This was because a unit of wood could be exchanged for 1 contribution point. In other words, the contribution they made was equivalent to bringing 4 million units of wood to cold desolate Dragon City. This number was definitely shocking. To ordinary players, 4 million units of wood was an unimaginable amount. Even Lorne did not dare to say that 4 million units of resources was a small amount. After all, the resources that cold desolate Dragon City was using were all provided by Iron Skull City, and Lorne's own wealth had only bought 40 million units of resources in the gnome shop. This was only because Turadu had given him a huge discount at the time. Otherwise, Lorne could only buy 20 million units of resources. Therefore, 4 million units of resources was definitely not a small amount. If he had to convert it into money, in the gnome shop, a unit of wood was 1 silver coin. 4 million units of resources was 40,000 gold coins, equivalent to more than 100 million alliance dollars. In addition, there was a strange phenomenon, which was that there was no important figure that looked familiar. This was because many large guilds were watching. They were not in a hurry to invest resources, because they were afraid of failure. After all, this was a competition between the large forces in Iron Skull City. No one dared to say that they had the confidence to win. Therefore, most of them decided to participate in this crazy city creation token battle when the event was about to end or when they were confident of winning. Chapter 266, Discovering the Infiltrators. Seeing this list, Lorne could not help but sigh. The large guilds in these dark areas were really too crazy. After all, this event had only been open for a few hours, but they had already invested more than $100 million. However, that was not the greatest investment. What truly made the large guilds spend a lot was the investment of tens of thousands of players to help build the cold desolate Dragon City. These players were almost unable to raise their levels during this period of time. This was the greatest investment for a large guild. But in order to obtain the city creation token, they were forced. From the income obtained after the opening of the cold desolate Dragon City, they had already seen the value of a territory. A city creation token that they had obtained in advance was the seed of wealth. As long as they could obtain this seed, after a period of time, this seed would bring unimaginable wealth to the guild. As a large guild, all of them had huge ambitions. Even if they knew that they were doing this to work for Tyrant, they had to fight for it without regard for their own safety. Only by staking everything could they break through the encirclement of the strong army and become the strongest in the world. In fact, even if they failed, they would not lose out. Other than the first place who could obtain the guild establishment token, the others on the ranking could also obtain a platinum equipment as a reward. This was an extremely rare reward for the current players. After all, platinum equipment was not yet popularized. In addition, the contribution points could also be used to exchange. In the contribution point shop that Lorne had set up, there were dozens of platinum items, hundreds of gold items, and more than 1,000 silver items. These items were high-grade resources that had to be fought for in a guild with a large population. These 1,000 items were enough for these players to spend contribution points. Even solo players who could not afford high-grade equipment could use their contribution points to exchange for useful bronze equipment or VIP level to unlock titles. These VIP titles could allow them to obtain a lot of benefits in the cold desolate Dragon City. For example, a number of free teleportation uses, discounted purchases, and so on. In short, they could earn whatever they exchanged. Moreover, Lorne had set a very important rule. That was the contribution point exchange system. Last time, because of the system's customized points system, points could not be exchanged in the event. Other than Lorne, the other players only had less than 2 million points. This time, Lorne opened the contribution point exchange system. In this way, the contribution points in the hands of all the players could be sold on the market like gold coins. This was also the main reason why those large guilds sent tens of thousands of people to cold desolate Dragon City to do an event. Competition was the key to Lorne's wealth. In the current cold desolate Dragon City, other than a few million people, there were at least 500,000 players helping with construction work. The previous 2 million workers had completed the repair of the cold desolate Dragon City. The rest were the living areas that Lorne had planned. The construction requirements for these buildings were not that high, but the workload was huge. Originally, there were not many buildings in the cold desolate Dragon City, most of them were empty spaces. However, to plan these empty spaces into commercial areas, the construction work here was huge. Even if there were hundreds of thousands of players participating in the construction, it would take a long time to complete all of this. I have to go to the Gnome Mineral Company to purchase a batch of ordinary building materials. Lorne looked at the resource consumption in the territory. It would consume about 10 to 20 million resources per day. Although Iron Skull City was still providing them, it would not last long. Previously, when Answer had given him the resource mobilization token, he had said that Iron Skull City would help cold desolate Dragon City complete the basic infrastructure. These words could be used as an excuse to repair the cold desolate Dragon City and end the resource support operation. Now that Answer had not made a move, it should be that he did not know about the current expenditure of the warehouse. If he knew that the warehouse in Iron Skull City was losing tens of millions of supplies every day, he would probably immediately investigate the entire situation. At that time, Iron Skull City would definitely stop providing supplies. Then, Lorne would have to rely on himself. Only he could store enough resources to truly build the city. Territory Resource Warehouse Store. Food, 120.91 million units. Wood, 137.1 million units. Stone materials, 135.65 million units. Steel, 147.1 million units. Crystal, 1.43 million units. Sulfur, 1.39 million units. Mercury, 1.27 million units. This was the current savings in the territory. Compared to Iron Skull City, the difference was like heaven and earth. As a main city with a long history, the internal resources of Iron Skull City had already accumulated to a terrifying level. Even 100 million wood was not a problem. However, this was a huge problem for the cold desolate Dragon City. Most of these resources were contributed by the players. The top 10 players on the leaderboard contributed at least half of the resources. All of this was thanks to the city creation token he had obtained in Iron Skull City. To be honest, if not for this token, the players would not be so crazy. Fortunately, he was far-sighted. Everything in the city was progressing well. The only thing he needed now was time. Cold desolate Dragon City was located in the ruins of the war. It was estimated that it would soon be attacked by the Dark Faction, which was a problem that Lorne was more worried about. As he was thinking, suddenly, several red dots appeared on Lorne's main city map. Ding! Game announcement: your Light Knight has discovered 4 players from the Dark Faction outside the city. A system notification suddenly appeared in front of Lorne. This made him curious. This was because the Light Knight was guarding the city wall of the inner city. However, the players from the Dark Faction were not in the city. So it's at this location. The location of the cold desolate Dragon City was very special. There was a cliff near the Cloud Top Hall. If one counted the height of the Cloud Top Hall, the entire height would exceed 1,000 meters. Moreover, the cliff was almost vertical. No one could climb up here. However, because the city's range was huge, there was a small loophole in this place. In the corner of the city wall behind, there was a small area. The outer wall was very close to the inner wall. Just now, the Light Knight had walked to the edge and happened to detect that someone was lurking here. It had to be said that these guys were really smart. They really found a place that could be as close to the inner city as possible outside the city. Seeing this, Lorne immediately rushed to the scene. Chapter 267, Stunned Netherworld Guild Members. Boss Nether River, this cold desolate dragon city is really huge. It took us hundreds of people several hours to find the best spot to attack. Outside the city wall of the cold desolate dragon city, a few people from the Netherworld Guild were hiding in the grass outside the city, waiting for the guild's order to attack. The leader this time was Bull Demon. Like Bloodthirsty, he was also a top expert of the Netherworld Guild. However, his proficiency was different from Bloodthirsty, who was good at hunting. What was stronger about Bull Demon was his infiltration skill, rock climbing, and unlocking skills. Unfortunately, in this city, these strengths were harder to use. There was no way to enter the city gate of the cold desolate dragon city. There were city guards guarding it. Moreover, the city gate was too ancient. With his lock-picking skill, he temporarily could not open the city gate. Therefore, they spent a few hours finding the place that had the highest chance of approaching the administrative building. As long as they could climb over the city wall, they could directly approach the inner city wall and quickly approach the other party's administrative building. To a city, the administrative building was the most fragile place. As long as they could enter the administrative building, they could find the switch to destroy the city. At that time, they only needed an order to destroy the city. This tyrant is really lucky to be able to find the ruins of such an ancient city. If not for the fact that the foundation of this city is still intact, how could that kid have built his territory to such an extent at this time? That's right. This cold desolate dragon city is in the ruins of the war. If our Netherworld Guild took charge of it, the players of Iron Skull City would completely lose this resource-rich training area. Sigh, what a pity. Alright, cut it out. Boss Nether River has replied. Let's go now. Bull Demon looked at the few people beside him and said, later, follow behind me and use the rock climbing rope to climb over the city wall. Remember, don't be careless or speak. We have to rely on stealth to break through the other party's defense as soon as possible. Now is the time when the cold desolate dragon city is being built. Tyrant will definitely not be able to take care of all the places, so this is our best opportunity. However, we only have one chance. If we fail this time, it will be extremely difficult to destroy the cold desolate dragon city next time. Do you understand? Understood. Don't worry, boss. The assassins of the Netherworld Guild nodded at each other and decided to take action now. Bull Demon raised his right hand. On his hands, there was a special equipment. This equipment could release ropes and grab at the wall. This way, he could climb up. This function was very similar to the spider silk bracer that Lorne had used. However, just as they thought that the plan was about to succeed, an accident suddenly happened. Ding! Grapple failed. Grapple failed. Grapple failed. Bull Demon released the grappling hook several times, but all of them failed. The group of assassins under the city wall were stunned. What's going on? Didn't you say that we can cross all the city walls and mountains? Guild leader Nether River, who was watching the live stream, immediately frowned. Bull Demon was also stunned. His hook lock bracer was obtained by the guild after sending more than 1,000 elites to attack a boss. It was a very high-level platinum secondary equipment. In all the rock climbing missions previously, there had never been an accident. Today was too strange. Why was it unusable? Seeing this, Lorne, who was invisible, smiled. This Bull Demon was really silly and cute. The city wall of the cold desolate dragon city was built with ancient giant rocks. Moreover, when the cold desolate dragon city designed the building, it would also engrave a magic circle inside to increase the resistance of the building. After all the buildings here had to welcome the descent of the dragon at any time. Without enough resistance, it was impossible to remain intact under the dragon's claws. How could such a huge city wall be penetrated by a platinum equipment? Of course, this was also because there was a flaw in this equipment. If his rope could reach a height of more than 70 meters, it was possible to hook the wall above and use it to climb up. Unfortunately, his rope could only release 50 meters at most, so it could only be fixed by piercing the rock. This led to the phenomenon that he could not grab because the strength of the rope could not break the defense of the city wall. Boss Nether River, this city wall is probably too hard. My equipment's penetrative power is limited, which led to the current situation. But don't worry, boss. I have other methods. Bull Demon took out a pickaxe engraved with bull head patterns and said, "Boss, look. I have a rare tool here that's specially used to break through the defense of buildings. With this equipment, we can definitely break through this city wall." He had stolen this equipment from the boss nest. It was because of this tool that he could succeed in his infiltration operations. The only pity was that this tool had durability. Facing such a high-hardness city wall, it would probably be destroyed after use. Thinking of this, Bull Demon sighed. However, he quickly calmed down. This was because he would destroy this huge player city and contribute greatly to the guild. This was not comparable to damaging a rare tool. Without further ado, the determined Bull Demon waved his hand. In the next second, ding! The sound of metal striking metal sounded. At the same time, a number appeared in the air. -0. Pfft! Looking at the number floating in the air, Bull Demon spat out a mouthful of blood. He had not expected this city wall to be so hard. This pickaxe clearly had a great defense penetration effect, but it still did not deal any damage. This was too much. Chapter 268, Infiltrators wiped out. Bull Demon. Are you using a fake item to cheat me? Didn't you say that no city wall can stop you? Now you're telling me that you can't even break through the city wall's defense. This time, Nether River completely erupted. He, who had been very calm, began to become irritable after experiencing these events. Boss, I don't understand either. Don't be anxious. I'll try to open the gap in this city wall. I think I can open it from here. Beads of sweat formed on the head of Bull Demon, and he quickly arrived at the gap in the city wall. Although the rocks used in this city were huge, there were still gaps. No matter what building it was, the gap would always be the weakest spot. As long as he grasped this weakness, its defense would definitely be crippled. -100. -100. -100. -100. Crack. As the Bull Demon struck again and again, a shattering sound was suddenly heard. The bull pattern pickaxe in his hand shattered. Damn! Bull Demon stood on the spot, stunned. What the heck was going on? What the heck? Where's my pickaxe? Wasn't there still a few thousand durability points? Why did it suddenly disappear? The dumbfounded Bull Demon quickly checked the system interface and realized that with every slash, the durability of the tool would decrease by 100 points. The tool that originally had thousands of durability points had actually shattered. Moreover, the gap in the city wall only broke a little. This was ridiculous. Who knew what this city wall was built with? Even the cement that stuck to the rocks was ridiculously hard. I'm dying of laughter. Standing behind them, Lorne almost laughed out loud. He had clearly opened the outer city area of the cold desolate Dragon City, but these assassin players of the Dark faction still wanted to forcefully break through the outer city wall. Those who did not know might really think that they had absolute confidence, but in the end, they could not even pass through the city wall. If they got close to the inner city, they would probably be stabbed to death by the Light Knights. However, as players, Lorne knew their intentions. In fact, in Divine Realm, the relationship between factions was really tense. If they could kill dark creatures, the players would receive a higher reward and a very precious reputation point reward. On the contrary, when the players of the Dark faction killed the players of the Light faction, they would also receive the corresponding reward. In the eyes of Iron Skull City, Cold Desolate Dragon City was the camp of the crusade against the ruins of the war and also an important hub that connected the three border fortresses. Therefore, it had an extremely important meaning to the war between the two sides. Therefore, in the eyes of the enemy Dark Faction, it became a thorn that they had to eliminate. If a player of the Dark Faction destroyed this city as a member of the Dark Faction, he would directly become an important figure in the special Blood Shadow City, or even become the City Lord of Blood Shadow City. Moreover, he could directly meet the Dragon of Darkness. It was a powerful existence on the same level as the Dragon of Light in the Order faction. With her support, the player would truly soar into the sky and become one of the strongest players in the entire Divine Realm game. However, to their surprise, this cold desolate dragon city was too sick. Even the construction that was specially used to tear down buildings could not break through the other party's defense. It was simply ridiculous. Seeing that the operation had failed, the assassins of the Netherworld Guild prepared to leave. Lorne took out his short staff and prepared to summon his pets to kill these guys. But then... swish! A white spear tore through the air and struck a player. Powerful energy poured out like a ferocious beast, piercing through the player's body. The spear also sank into the rock and turned into energy that dissipated between heaven and earth. -5,000. With a crazy number, the Dark Assassin's body shattered like glass. A notification sounded in Lorne's ear. Ding! Game announcement: your Light Knight has killed a Dark Faction adventurer. You have received +50 reputation points from the Order faction. On the city wall, there was a team led by a Light Knight. After discovering the abnormality here, they immediately came to defend. If not for the fact that Lorne wanted to see what the assassins wanted to do, they would have been killed by the Light Knight the moment they stood below the city wall. However, what was even more unexpected was that although these knights were only level 30, they could directly deal 5,000 damage. This was indeed a little powerful. No wonder the combat strength of the Church of Light had always been respected. Damn, we've been discovered. Seeing their companion die, the players immediately reacted. They reached out and sprinkled a handful of black dust, then disappeared from Lorne's vision. Unfortunately, the knights who were rented from the Church of Light had the skill, Holy Light Eye. They could directly see through the invisibility of the players, especially the players of the Dark Faction. In front of these NPCs, they had nowhere to hide. Swish! 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 Spears of energy descended from the sky one after another, accurately hitting every escaping Dark Faction player. In the face of the Light Knight, these players could not resist at all. Soon, the battle ended. Lorne picked up the equipment on the ground. To his surprise, there was also a platinum secondary equipment inside. It should be the equipment that the leader of the assassins was most proud of. Unfortunately, Lorne already had a secondary equipment. He could only bring it with him now. In the future, he could use it if he encountered a special map. The remaining gold and silver grade items were all thrown into the warehouse of the cold desolate dragon city. They would be sold in the shop in the future. Then, Lorne checked the attributes of the city wall. Construction, city wall, cold desolate dragon city. Defense, 10,000. Resistance, 80%. Durability, 1 million/1 million. Introduction, constructed by an ancient giant rock with an ancient compound mud. Coupled with special magic runes, it is a powerful city wall that increases defense. It has extremely high defense. Ordinary magic and swords cannot even leave a mark on it. It could be seen that the city wall was not damaged. The bit of mud that they had cut down just now was just an additional material that could not be considered part of the durability of the city wall. Moreover, from this information, it could be seen that the durability of the city wall was higher than that of the ground. The two used the same material, but when Lorne checked the floor, the durability of the floor in the city was 500,000 points, and the defense was 5,000 points, half of the wall's attributes. We have to send a team to guard this city wall. Lorne observed his surroundings and found that this was really the weakest place in the entire city. The other areas were blocked by the outer city, giving the defense army enough time to react. However, this place was very close to the inner city. As long as they crossed the outer city wall, they would reach the inner city at most 1,000 meters. If they ignored all the defense forces, sneaking in from this place would be the fastest way to directly threaten the city. With that in mind, Lorne redistributed the defense missions of the Light Knights. After dealing with this, Lorne did not enter the city again but walked out of the forest. Now that the missions in the city had basically been arranged, Tully would be responsible for dealing with the construction problems. Therefore, Lorne had to consider his level. After reaching level 40, he could go to the Elven Kingdom and begin the second chapter of the epic main storyline mission. In addition, he had to deal with the second part of the mission on Aisha. Chapter 269, Sudden Situation. Monster Attack. For the construction of the cold desolate dragon city, Lorne had been busy for a long time. Fortunately, the mission on him did not have a time limit, so it was not too late to carry it out. After leaving the city, Lorne arrived at a hill. In this mountain range, there was a group of beastmen who were only level 40. Bull-horned beastmen. Grade, Bronze Monster. Level, 40. HP, 24,000. Skill, Power, / Savage Roar. Introduction, a group of savage bull-horned beastmen. They like to plunder human women, because in their eyes, human women are the best targets to bear their children. Level 40 bronze monsters basically had more than 20,000 health points and their attack power was close to 2,000. This was still a huge challenge for the current players. However, at the same time, the stronger the player, the more they like to challenge high-grade monsters, because this could increase their level more effectively. Little fellows, your holiday is over. It's time to work. Lorne waved his short staff and summoned his 6 pets. Previously, he had wanted to change the undead archer, Venom, but he had not found a suitable monster, so he had temporarily put it aside. This little guy was still standing in the team and had reached level 30. The other pets had also reached level 30, except for Aisha. She was now level 24 and was still 10 million experience points away from level 30. Attack. Without hesitation, Lorne ordered his pets to fight their own battles. Swish! 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 Small artillery raised the bow in its hand one after another, and arrows with black flames shot out. At most, 5 to 6 arrows could kill a level 40 bronze monster. As a gold pet that had been synthesized, it was normal to have such strength. But it was not the most brilliant thing. It was the hard-working night elf princess, Aisha. Like a wild cat, she moved quickly in the forest, the blades in her hand as fast as lightning. The bull-horned beastmen did not even see their enemies before their heads were separated. Minus 60,000. Critical. Minus 54,000, critical. Minus 55,000, critical. Minus 57,000, critical. After equipping some scattered equipment, Aisha's strength had also increased greatly. She could now easily deal nearly 70,000 damage critical hits. The actual damage was reduced only because these level 40 bronze monsters were higher in level. If not for the level suppression effect, the damage numbers would definitely be even more spectacular. However, this did not affect the battle. In any case, it was an instant kill. The number was no longer important. Ding! You have killed a bull-horned beastman. Ding! 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 Under the powerful fire of the 6 pets, the bull-horned beastmen in the forest fell one by one. According to the current hunting speed, he could kill at least 40 monsters in a minute, provided that the monsters in this area maintained their current density. To Lorne, the density of monsters had always been the greatest problem. It would only take a second for him to kill the monster, but it might take a few seconds, or even 10. Therefore, this was the greatest problem he had been facing. Fortunately, there were enough pets now. Compared to other players, such an experience gaining speed could only be obtained in dreams. Ding! Game announcement: your light knight has killed an adventurer of the Order faction not drinking Fatty's Cola. Game announcement! Game announcement! Game announcement! While Lorne was killing the monsters, information kept flashing on the city interface. It could be seen that these players who were killed were different from the assassins outside the city. They were all players of the Order faction. For some reason, they deliberately wanted to break through the defense of the inner city. Most of these people should be spies from the Dark faction in Iron Skull City. At the same time, there were some players from the Iron Skull City forces mixed in. They all wanted to destroy this city and did not want it to truly flourish. To the people of the Dark faction, destroying the city would allow them to obtain great benefits in the game. As for the players of the Order faction, by destroying the city, they could protect a huge market and pull their competitors to the same starting line as them. To the financial groups, it was acceptable for everyone to work together and share the market, but they could not accept such an action of monopolizing the entire market. Therefore, during this period of time, Cold Desolate Dragon City would face many challenges. If he was not careful, Lorne's efforts might really be wasted. Fortunately, before opening the city, he had received the full support of Commander Rhett. There were tens of thousands of city guards stationed in the Cold Desolate Dragon City and 10 to 20,000 people who would maintain the security in the Cold Desolate Dragon City and help guard the inner city area. In addition, the players were still very weak and did not have many special methods, so Cold Desolate Dragon City was relatively safe now. After Lorne mined the ores, he would rent tens of thousands of light knights. At that time, Cold Desolate Dragon City would be truly invulnerable. Ding! Congratulations on using 1.72 million experience points to raise your pet Aisha to level 25. Ding! Congratulations on using 1.78 million experience points to raise your pet Aisha to level 26. Ding! Congratulations on using 1.84 million experience points to raise your pet Aisha to level 27. After farming for half a day, Aisha's level had already reached 27. She was only 3 levels away from the target of level 30. However, it was already very late. Lorne could not hold on anymore and prepared to rest. But just as he was about to leave, a notification suddenly sounded in the sky. Ding! Regional announcement: due to the sudden establishment of the Cold Desolate Dragon City, the surrounding monsters are feeling uneasy. A monster mountain giant king who lives in the mountains and the monster octopus sea demon leader who lives in the Lake of Death is preparing to jointly attack the Cold Desolate Dragon City and destroy this city in one go. Regional announcement: please note that the army of monsters from 2 directions is gathering. All adventurers affiliated with the Cold Desolate Dragon City, please prepare for battle. Regional announcement: Cold Desolate Dragon City is about to be attacked by monsters. The difficulty is SSSSS. The official battle will begin in 2 days. Please respond to the call of Cold Desolate Dragon City and guard the city together. Ding! Ding! Chapter 270, Mission to Defend the City. Gosh! A mission with SSSSS difficulty. Mountain Giant King? I remember someone encountering it. It seems to be above level 40. I can't see its specific attributes. I think it's level 50. This is the ruins of the war. Level 50 monsters can only be considered average. I think it's very possible. The octopus sea demon is the boss of the Lake of Death. I believe it's level 60. Tyrant is in trouble now. He's done for. The players who heard the news felt a huge sense of danger. Although they did not know the specific attributes of the 2 bosses, they could guess some things from the name and the environment. Especially the Mountain Giant King. On the border between the Doomsday Forest and the Lake of Death, there were many such powerful bosses. Some were even above 100 levels. Their entire bodies were like a mountain. If such a boss attacked cold desolate Dragon City, it would be a devastating blow. These thick city walls were useless because this huge boss had the ability to easily cross the city wall and directly attack the interior of the weak city. This result was definitely not what the players wanted to see. Compared to the destruction of the city, they wanted to see the city remain as it was. The situation is bad. We can't let this cold desolate Dragon City be destroyed. Although Tyrant is a little evil, it's very convenient to teleport to the various areas of the Doomsday Forest. That's right. If not for the cold desolate Dragon City, those unscrupulous merchants in the Doomsday Forest would have made a comeback. They are much more black-hearted than Tyrant. A bottle of potion costs 3 silver coins. Everyone, help Tyrant guard the city. This is good for us solo players. Pfft. Help that black-hearted scoundrel defend the city? In his dreams. It's already good that I won't obstruct him, but you want me to help him defend the city? What a joke. The players discussed. Some people wanted to help Lorne protect the city, but they were scolded by more people. At such a choice, opposition often attracted more people to defect, because they would do anything to achieve their goals. Therefore, the voices on the forum became increasingly unfriendly. There were even people who wanted to cause trouble in the cold desolate Dragon City at this critical moment. Ding! Game announcement: your city cold desolate Dragon City will be attacked by monsters in 2 days. As the city lord, you can issue missions to the adventurers. Warm reminder: more precious rewards can make the adventurers work harder. Please think about the contents of the mission later. At this moment, as the city lord, Lorne received a relevant notification. This mission was very difficult. After all, it was an SSSSS level defense mission. In Divine Realm, this was the highest level mission. Of course, the quality of the mission was determined by the players and the game stages. To the current players, even clearing a gold boss was a high difficulty S-grade mission. To a newly built city, facing the attacks of 2 powerful bosses was also a life and death problem. However, Lorne was more optimistic. He believed that this was an abnormally simple test. It was definitely not enough to destroy the entire cold desolate Dragon City. According to the game progress, monsters were produced. This was the basic operation method of the game system. Now that the players were only level 30, it was impossible for a boss above level 50 to fight the players head-on. This was because when the difference between the two sides exceeded 20 levels, the monsters would be invincible. Under normal circumstances, such a scene would not happen in a game. Therefore, Lorne believed that the boss should not be above level 45. A boss of this level still had the ability to cross the outer city wall of cold desolate Dragon City, but the monsters led by the boss would definitely not be able to cross the 70-meter-tall giant city wall. Coupled with the powerful defense and 60 meters wide of the city wall of cold desolate Dragon City, the players guarding the city only needed to stand on the city wall and shoot at the monsters below. Everyone knew how simple such a battle was. If the guild leaders of those large guilds had enough judgment, they should know that this event was definitely a good opportunity to quickly level up. As for the only character that needed consideration in the battlefield, it was actually the 2 bosses. The only thing the guilds were afraid of were these 2 bosses. Whether Tyrant could kill the other party was an important condition of this war. They were all thinking about this. Only Lorne was not worried. In his eyes, the levels of these 2 bosses would definitely not exceed 50. Bosses that were not above 50 would not be considered invincible by him. Therefore, he was absolutely confident about the battle in 2 days. Event mission. Lorne thought about it and decided to make it an event mission. After all, this was a defensive battle. Cold desolate Dragon City needed to face the attacks of a vast number of monsters. Although Lorne did not think that they could break through the defense of the city wall, an attack that was too powerful would still cause damage to the city wall. In the future, if he wanted to repair these damaged city walls, he would definitely have to lose a large number of ancient rocks. Although there were still many of these rocks in the city, they were still extremely rare materials after all. He had to reduce the expenditure. In the event of an even larger war in the future, the resources that were preserved could at least allow Cold Desolate Dragon City to last for a longer time. With that in mind, Lorne set up a city defense mission. Soon, a new regional announcement sounded in the entire ruins of the war. Ding! Iron Skull City announcement, Cold Desolate Dragon City. City Lord of Cold Desolate Dragon City, Tyrant, has issued an event mission protecting Cold Desolate Dragon City. Mission description: any adventurer can enter the Cold Desolate Dragon City and help the Cold Desolate Dragon City resist the attacks of the monsters. All players who participate in the event will automatically obtain the ordinary VIP title of the Cold Desolate Dragon City. Please participate eagerly. Ding! Ding! The announcement sounded 3 times. However, the players who heard this announcement were stunned. They all thought that Tyrant had wrongly edited the announcement for the event mission. This was because on this wrong document, it actually wrote, all players who participate in the event will automatically obtain the ordinary VIP title of the Cold Desolate Dragon City.